Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the Leadership Challenge show here on EBN TV. Another great Tuesday to discuss matters that pertain to leadership. Many times that we have come here, we have come with a little bit of elderly leaders. But today we are here in the studio with a young leader that is coming up and is making progress, great progress in the work of the ministry. And today we will just try to understand leadership from the perspective of young people and people that are coming into leadership. And that is what we shall be discussing today. I'm so glad that you joined us today. You are in for a great information here in this program. At the bottom of the screen, you will find a number. You can interact with us. We want to hear your views. We want to know what you're thinking about the discussion of today in this Leadership Challenge show. Pastor Edward Njuki, I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Please, I want you to greet us. Yeah. And maybe you can introduce yourself and say something small about leadership.
Okay. My name is Pastor Edward Njuki Morioki. I'm a pastor, associate pastor, Jubilee Christian Church Eastlands, and Pastor Daniel Morage and Pastor Charlotte Morage. I'm married, father of two. I'm married to Eva Wanjiko Njuki. For me, I've been in leadership for the longest time possible since I was in high school, that is Form 1, back in 1991. I got into leadership of the Christian Union, and all along I've been in leaderships. And for me, leadership is a gift, is a calling.
Yeah.
And for the way my life has been, every time I find myself just getting into leadership,
yeah.
I love being in leadership, because leadership is not being a boss, it's being a servant.
A servant.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
That's yeah, you've punched it.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Now, coming from Jubilee Christian Church in Buruburu, JCC Buruburu, yes, a great church.
Thank you,
you know, I live near your church. I interact a lot with your people, and it's a great church. You're doing a great work, and we appreciate you. And all of you from JCC Buruburu, your pastor is on TV. Please call and text a few people and tell them we are saying it as it is. And as a younger generation begins to arise, we are beginning to ask questions, because we as young people, when we begin to arise, we find that we have a lot to learn from people that went ahead of us. And we have come with this expectation that they will do the right thing, and they will teach us good values and add to our virtues as people, so that we can also emerge as good leaders. As a young leader in this country, and I know you've been in the area of human resource for a long time, when you look at the leadership that we have in this country, do you feel young people have a lot to learn, and how do you look at it?
The young people in this country, one of the things that is happening is, depending on the perspective they are looking at it from.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking from the church-based leadership, many of the young people who have gone through school, and also when it becomes intentional to learn, and that's where we challenge the young people who want to come into leadership. That leadership is not something that you wake up in the morning and then you just become a leader.
Yeah.
You must grow in it. You must look at the fathers who have gone ahead. What have they done?
Yeah.
Read. Get to know knowledge, get to know how can I loop in from out there and just come and be in leadership.
Yeah.
And the future is bright for the young people,
of course,
in terms of leadership.
Because
before we'll get many people who are in leadership because they had somebody who was behind them, pushing them. But you're finding young people who are coming, who have a self-drive, who have been taught well. And being in Jubilee Christian Church Eastlands, one of the things that we've had with our spiritual father, Pastor Dan, is we have a lot of leadership trainings going on every time and then.
Wonderful.
So that builds you to become a strong leader, one in the marketplace and also in the church, also in the family, because leadership also starts from home.
Yeah, definitely.
So young people, for me, it is their time to arise, but arise with knowledge, because our fathers made the mistakes, we have learned from them, and now we don't have to make the same mistakes, because they have already shown us, my son, here, do not fall on this, because here it will burn you.
You know, I have no doubt about the leaders that we have in the church. I would say 90% are good leaders, and people growing under the leadership of these people are really benefiting a lot. But now, as young people, when we look at the national leadership, political leadership, you see, do you feel like young people have a lot to learn from the leadership that we see today?
One of the things that is happening with the politics and the national leadership is we must find an answer in the young people, because as things have been done before, and things have grown from behind how things have been handled, the young people must come and now do things differently, because one, we are not tribal.
They must come and do things differently.
Yes.
I really would want you to repeat that one, because I think many young people are queuing after the old bad ways that they are learning from some of the leaders.
Because as we come from a different setup where one, we are intermarrying. So intermarrying, we cannot be tribal, because you cannot be tribal against your wife, against your husband,
and your children,
In
fact,
because your children have not
if you are intermarried, your children have not tried.
Have not tried.
Amazing.
At the end of the day, the other thing that we are having as the leadership of the young people who are coming, there are people who are learned and people who understand the basics of what leadership is all about. The other thing that we are looking at leadership in terms of the young people that we can do differently is the place of integrity. Are we in the integrity of the young people? Are we pursuing ourselves to be that integral part that we can bring order? And we can bring the things that have not been going well, can we bring them back to the rail and just ensure that we get the leadership and the vision of the country on track. Yes, sir.
When we must now begin to measure the impact and interrogate the impact that is coming from things that are done by people that are in leadership. You are when you hear such millions of money have disappeared in an office, how do you think that is impacting on young people that are arising into leadership? When we see leaders hurling insults at one another in public, calling one another names and quarreling, sometimes even we have seen them fighting physically. How are these things that are done by leaders that in office impact on the leaders that is arising?
From the teachings that we have and from school and even on society, we are told, look at what needs to be picked from that person. Many things are happening, good and bad. But we must come to a place as young people, as young leaders, where we choose what is right for us. Because you see, whatever foundation you put in place, you're not putting in place for you. You're putting for you for the generations that come. And so, as much as the leaders are fighting out there, they're insulting each other. Do I need to be like them? So
really
I must create a dynamic me. I must create a me who wants to to leave a legacy for my children, because my son is growing. I need to show him this is the kind of leader I need you to become, because I cannot allow my son to become what I don't want him to become. So, and the only way my son can learn is by seeing and by learning from me. And that's where now we work a lot about mentorship. What kind of mentorships are we doing to the young people who are growing? What kind of leadership styles are we using out there? Are we encouraging these kinds of leaderships where there is insults, there is balkanization? Or are we telling our children that this nation is one, that we must speak one voice, that we must know that if this nation goes to the dogs, all of us goes to the dogs. It's not just a few people. So it's just a matter of ensuring that the stability of this nation and the stability of this country, even in leadership, that we have the right leaders in place. Of course, as believers, we are looking at getting the right people and the righteous people in power. Because when the righteous are in power, a country is safe.
Definitely. That's what the Bible says.
Yes, sir.
But I'm wondering, because when the leaders, leaders that are not good leaders, leaders that are evil, hell-bent, failing leaders, when they want to do their bad things, they always find the youth easily. And I know most of these youth also are found in churches. What do you think the young people need to do when leaders who want to do evil want to use the youth to achieve their goals? The other day, case in point, we had the deputy president going to a church somewhere in Narumoro or something like that, and arriving there, he finds the roads are barricaded, people are throwing stones at him, and we saw an ugly picture. I think you saw it on TV. And the people that were used are young people. And if you follow them, you'll also find that they are attached to a church somewhere. Are young people really ready to stand for what is right?
I think at that point is where we look at what is this that drags the young people to do that. And that's where now, as believers, as churches, we must also arise in the place of empowerment. Because if we empower our young people, they will not be given bait. You see bait, 50 shillings, 100 shillings.
Go and throw stones.
To go and throw stones. So from where I sit, I look at us arising as a church and empowering our young people. And telling our young people that you need to go and work, because if an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Anytime somebody is idle, if they get something to do, they will just say, mpango imetokea. So we must give them something to do. And that's why we must involve the young people in constructive things in church. Even if it does not earn them much, but let's keep them working. Let's keep them going. Let's keep them in a place where they are engaged, because if they are engaged, they have no time to go and do that. And also a place of training where we train people that leadership is put there by God, and God has commanded us to respect the authorities that God has ordained. Yes, sir.
Okay, now the young people are many. They are the majority, I think, in any society that you, or any grouping of people you find in any place. Young people are the majority voters in the city of Nairobi. Do you think young people have realized the power they have? Do you know if young people wanted to overturn tables, they could? And do you think young people have realized that they carry this potential, this power is in them to command what kind of leader goes in? Are young people really aware of that?
At the moment, I think that's something that is gradually growing into them, because with programs on the ground, we have sports programs, we have other things. If you look at the kind of leaderships that are coming, even in the corporate, we have very many young people taking roles of leadership. And this becomes a place where the young people are learning that we can take this, and we don't have to use the wrong means, that we can do it the right way. And also, I love the way the government has done now, that the transitioning into schools and the building of literacy.
The 100% transition.
100% transition. So this builds literacy. And any person who is literate will know that I do not need to do this. So from where I sit, I look at things changing, because now young people are going to be literate, and they are going to be thinking with their mind, not with their stomach.
Wow.
Yeah, and for me, that's the place where the young people are going. And if you look, even in the leadership in the churches, leadership in the corporate, leadership even in the political arena, so many young people are coming up, and they are becoming a voice in this nation that cannot be ignored. Yes, sir.
Amazing truths emerging here. Powerful discussion here on Leadership Challenge Show. It's clear now that young people, you don't have to be wicked because some leaders are practicing wickedness and evil, violence and hatred. We don't have to say what these old men are saying. We can learn what is right and do what is right. Young people, we must look ourselves as the only hope for change, because if we want things to change, then it is you young people out there who will bring this change. Are we willing to follow the evil patterns, or we are ready to embrace change and run as who we are? Young people, we have not learned tribalism. Where are we getting it from? It is not ours. In our generation, a time like this, still talking about which tribe you come from and you want to defend it, I think that is too backward. We have already moved on. The generation is ahead. So come out of that place. Let us now begin to come to the place where we are and do things differently. And by doing things differently, we are going to impact our society positively. We are taking a short break. Keep tweeting and SMSing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Leadership Challenge Show. I'm enjoying the show today with a great young pastor. I cannot say he's very old, although he's not a young boy. But the way he is speaking to us, and I know he has great impact on young groups in the place where he's leading, we are moving on very well. Please begin to call people and tell them to tune to EBN TV, because there's something very valuable for young people. I will want us to go back and talk about Pastor Njuki. Let's look at how we have been training young people, and we want to interrogate whether it is in church organizations, in education institutions, or in government forums and levels of leadership. We want to begin to interrogate, are young people being prepared? Because we come from an African background where, like in the place where I come from, the father would call the son at a place that was called Thome, in the place where I come from. And they would talk very deep things there about future. And you'll find that by the time this young man is arriving at 20, this young man is really mature. He can handle deep matters. How are we developing young people into leadership?
We're doing well as far as part of it. I can say part of it we're doing well.
Yeah.
From maybe the church setup.
The church setup, yeah.
As far as the school setup, you're doing well. But where maybe we are starting to have a problem is the home setup. We are having career parents. And with career parents, we are having absentee fathers. You see, you've said you used to have a dome where you're going to meet your son and talk to him about
early in the morning.
Yeah, how to become
out there away from the mother and the daughters.
Yes, but we are having a case in place where the mother is the one that is raising sons. So absentee fathers and even absentee parents, because I've seen a trend that is coming up where children are being taken to boarding school at the age of 3, 4 years. Actually 3, 4 years.
Yes.
Not even class 5.
Oh.
3, 4 years.
This is
worse. Because the parents are becoming too busy for their children. So this child from onset does not know what parenting is all about, does not know the love of the parent. Because the first teacher of a child is a parent. So if we fail at that place, that child will be raised, whatever he gets up there is what he takes. So you as a parent, from time to time, because you're supposed to even audit and just when your child comes home and you have a place where you're able to talk to them. And just get to establish what's happening to you and everything, because now they're in boarding schools. But now, where are the parents? That's where the problem is coming in. Now we do not have the long holidays, so it's 1 week. And when we are having 1 week holiday, and the parent is so busy that week, so he just sends an Uber driver to go pick the child from school, then drops him home. The child now is in the hands of the nanny. Then when he needs to go back to school, an Uber takes them back to school.
Wow.
So is that the leadership we are having?
Terrible.
But also in the school setup, we are having, of course, societies. We are having the guidance and counseling leaderships. From school to school, leadership is different. But I think we are growing, but we just need to be intentional. We just need to be intentional on this.
So now you can see where the missing link is, especially at the parental stage, where many parents are leaving their children to be grown. But leadership has to be developed.
Yes, sir. And
everybody has a place to lead. And the people who do not know how to lead, there will always be a problem. Because even if there is no other place where anyone will be required to lead, one day those people will be parents of children, and they must lead other people to be good people. So leadership development is very, very important. And I would wish you to say something about developing leaders. Because definitely everybody will be a leader at some point.
Maybe he's looking at leadership from a place where, what is leadership? Because you see this textbook leadership, where you go to school and you're told this is what happens in school. But you see, the textbook leadership will not instill values in you. Because there are values you must learn from a one-on-one leadership. And that's now we've talked about the parenting. How will a boy know how to become a man if he never learned those values? So how are we dealing with the issue of mentorships? How are we growing leaderships? Are we making it intentional? So we must look at the levels of where do we want to start leadership. I've seen in schools now they are introducing governments. There is a governor, there is a senator in school, even in primary school. And this opens up their mind to know that these positions are out there. And the children actually campaign in school to get those positions.
Yes, I hear that.
But now, even as we get them to see those positions, who is this person that is holding this child's hand to walk with them and just to show them this is the way? And leadership styles and also the values of leadership. When you are a leader, are you, as we said before, are you a boss? You know, the thing that many people look at is, I want to be the CEO, I want to be the president, I want to be something. But they are not looking at what impact is it supposed to come from me as a leader? What am I supposed to generate from me as a leader? When people look at me, what do they see?
Yeah.
Am I approachable? Am I somebody will tell somebody, I would want to be like so and so, because they have seen that person walk the talk and leave a legacy in terms of what they are doing.
Yeah.
So for me, leadership comes down to the values that we are instilling. Because now, if we look at the political class and maybe want to pick from it, sometimes we might not get the model of leadership. So we who are sober leaders, young and upcoming in the church leadership, in other places, what are the values that we are putting down?
And definitely, I think you are raising a very pertinent issue when it comes to developing young leaders and developing our children into leadership. Because you say textbook leadership may not be the kind of leadership that will help these people, because everybody has read textbook. That brings me to the place of morality.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because good leadership is always tied to good morals. And the source of morality is only from God. Yeah. I was listening a discussion about atheism, and the confusion that I saw there was amazing, because the man could not say where they get their moral code from. Yeah, on atheism. And that is clear that it comes from God, the creator. Is the source of morals, is the source of the moral code. And this brings me to the place of the church. And I feel like we can get more help from the church if churches can begin to be deliberate about developing the young people in the church. And I want you to weigh in on that one. And because why I want you to weigh in on that one is because I know there are churches that have not started to train young men to be men and young girls to be women. Yeah, all the programs are very minimal. Of course, in some places like our place, we are trying to tie young people more to the men's fellowship so that they can interact and begin to learn a few things from them. And the programs sometimes in many places they have not picked up. But I want you to explore the potential that we have in the church in growing young boys to be men. Of course, I know there are churches that have really taken it far, and church leaders like Mbevi, Pastor Mbevi, I think, has done very well with the program of Man Up. Man Enough. Is it Man Enough or Man Up?
Man Enough.
Man Enough. Yeah. So good programs. But there are other churches that have not started. They have not even taken their first step. Please, I want you to delve into that.
This, maybe to just take you back a little bit.
Yeah.
You remember if you go to media today, there's something that you will find. When we were growing up, I'm not that old, I'm young, and maybe for the older people, you will find that there was what we used to call taboo. Taboos. And they're taboo
Never
words.
broken.
There are things that will not even come out of your mouth, because you cannot
taboo?
even, it's a taboo.
Yeah.
There are things you will not do because it's a taboo.
Yeah.
But slowly by slowly, these things have been degenerating and coming out of us. And you see, these were things that were keeping us sober over time. And now that we're talking about intentionality in building leadership, we are looking at the church. For example, I will go to our church. What we do is we have programs. We have a group that is called I Change Leadership Now. Now, I Change Leadership Now. I Change Leadership Now is tasked in bringing programs that train leaders in church, and not only in church, but also in the marketplace. But our basis is godliness. We teach behind the biblical principles stand out. Now, when it comes to the young people, now we have the departmental places where we have the children's church, we have the teens church, we have the youth, we have the single ladies, we have a group like for us we call Ladies of Excellence, who are 30 and above, who are not married. So we create programs. So for me, at that place is where now the church must come out as a voice, and church must come out to offer solution. Are we offering solutions in-house? Because if inside the church we are not giving the solutions in terms of building strong leaders, then these same people will not be able to impact out there, because they have nothing to give. And with the church setup where you're able to teach this, what will happen is you'll be able to give them the moral values, that this is not the way we do it as a believer. This is when we're talking about the righteous being in power. The word is being right. That the word righteous comes from being right. So what is the right things that you need to do? You need to know that I need not to take what does not belong to me. I need to know that when I am given something, I need to hold it in trust. I am entrusted with it. I need to know that even when I grow up and I need to show diligence at the workplace, because you find many people nowadays are waiting for handouts. Let's teach people that go out there, work slowly. And you find many of us to the place where we've come from a low point, and God has raised us over time. So the church must come out very strongly and have intentional programs. Are the Bible schools that we are having, can they create programs based on children, based on teenagers, based on youth, so that these young people can go in and learn? And it's not about trying to fit into the today's world, but teaching people in today's world, how can you still live as a believer and lead as a godly person?
You know, you are a pastor, and one of the problems we have with the church, especially the Neo-Pentecostals, the Neo-Pentecostals are the newest Pentecostals that have taken it to a higher level. What I'm seeing is that they have programs for the youth. A lot of music, a lot of dancing, a lot of activity, a lot of showcasing, but they are instilling no morals in those people, in those young people. So the programs have remained empty, and they serve the purpose of keeping young people in church, just to make sure they don't leave the church. Can we put value into these programs? Rather, because these young people, they come and just dance and express themselves and be happy in the church, they will remain in the church, but will they grow to be the men we want them to be, the women we want them to be?
I think it's a place of balance. Because anytime you want to win a young person, you must first become
attract
like them. But when I attract you, how do I walk with you from there? Because there are things you come and tell them now that you are a believer. Yes, it is good to do all these other things, but remember, you are a soul, and you're looking unto heaven. So I must take you, even if I'm taking you dancing, I must take you to heaven. So the issue is, how do we strike a balance? And that's where now we do discipleship classes. Like for us, we have discipleship classes for the teenagers, where yes, they will dance in church and everything, but there's a place where they sit down and they are grounded in the Word of God, and where they are taught that this is how a young person must live. This is what the young person must shun. This is how the young person must grow. If it in terms of relationships, what is the godly way of relationship? Because if we allow the worldly things just to come and embrace everything, now we will lose a generation. And we cannot afford to lose a generation, because as fathers, we must raise people who will walk after us and become maybe even better than us. But we must show them the way. So it's just a matter of balance. I know we have a little freedoms now in many of the churches coming up, and that attracts young people. That can be a good way of getting them to church. But also when they get to church, now then from there, what do you do? So teaching them, training them.
Thank you so much, Pastor. And I think that we can impact very positively on the people that God has brought to our churches. And let us not just do things to get young people to church, to come to and attend our church, because young people are given a lot of freedom. Let that gathering of young people be about issues. Let it be about developing them into people that we can be proud of. But definitely these programs are good, but some have no content. It's just a concert and Kisha. They just went for a music concert, that is it. They just went for a worship experience, that's it. And where people begin to talk and someone is instructing them, and the Bible keeps on talking about instructions, and we need to keep on instructing the young people. And sometimes we have to separate them, boys alone and girls alone. And we have mature women that are instilling values and mature men who are instilling values. And if we leave it all to the pastor, it may not just be what we want it to be. We must begin now to integrate teams that are able to develop leadership in our churches. And we have the opportunity, we can do it. But definitely we must develop our young people to rise up, to grow, and be responsible people. When we are old, we will sit back. We will see them doing the thing right, and we will be happy. And definitely, even the time we are coming out of this world, we will go home happy people. So our hope as parents is in the success of our young people. Let's invest in it. We are taking a short break. We will be Welcome back to the discussion of leadership today here on Leadership Challenge Show, EBN TV. And I believe you have gotten a lot so far and you are enjoying the show. Keep watching. This is another session that we have with Pastor Njuki, the administration pastor at Jubilee Christian Church, Buruburu, and we are really blessed to have him here. And today our discussion on leadership is centered much on young people, their perception, their development. And now we want to look a little bit from the young people's point of view on the national leadership and see what we can do. And maybe I begin with a small question to you, Pastor Edward.
Yes, sir.
Do you think the young people we have in churches all over in the country can impact on the upcoming elections of 2022?
As we've said, the biggest population of voters at the moment are the young people.
Yeah.
So if they are able to make a sober decision and they get themselves away from being lured and being used wrongly by the older generation leadership, and getting incited for no apparent reasons.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of, or what I believe is they have a lot of impact into the coming elections. And for me, I'm looking at it from a place where there'll definitely be a voice. Yeah. But our biggest question is, can they stand out?
Okay. Now, from your point of view, at your age and with all the young people surrounding you in the church, when you look at 2022, what do you think in your mind? We have had violent elections, very violent ones, a lot of tribalistic, divisive, and when you look from your point of view, what do you think is likely to happen in 2022? And of course, we are men of faith and we pray for the right thing to happen in 2022. But, okay, when you think of 2022, what do you see?
I see a lot of order. Because one of the things that has happened is in the last few days, the churches have come out strongly to speak.
Yeah.
Before it was a silent voice, but in the last few days, the church has come out strongly to speak.
Yeah.
And you see, many of these young people are in churches. So, one of the things that I've learned is if a spiritual leader will tell people, don't do this, they tend to listen to a spiritual leader more than a politician. Yeah. So for me, I'm looking at, and I'm an optimist.
A very orderly 2022.
Yeah, orderly 2022.
Because this thing that has happened lately, that churches are bad, politicians from speaking in churches, has never happened before. Yeah. The church leaders continue to keep quiet. And
And you see, when politicians will come to the church and speak and have audience, what we are telling the membership is whatever they are saying is okay. But now that we are standing in a place where the church is standing strongly and saying, this nation is a godly nation. Yeah. When we are saying this is a Christian nation, it must stand on that basis, on the foundation that this is a Christian nation. Yeah. So for me, I'm looking at it from a place where now the church is putting order, and slowly, by the time we get to the elections of 2022, there will be a lot of order. And that's
it's good to give honor to whom honor is due, and I think all the honor goes to the Anglican head of that church, Archbishop Ole Sapit, because he was willing to bite the bullet right in front of the Honorable Prime Minister and other leaders, and he said, we are barring all of you. You are not speaking here today. I think it takes a lot of courage. And I think young people had a lot to draw from that. And even those churches that still kept quiet, don't think the politicians will go there and speak, because that voice and the voice of the Catholics and the voice of the Redeemed Gospel Church, the Archbishop also made a statement and barred all the Redeemed Gospel Church pulpits from politicking. I think even those who are keeping quiet, they will not allow it. And the politicians themselves, for wanting to be in good books, they will not want to speak in churches again. How do you think this will impact the volatility that we see always in elections? How will it impact?
As long as the church stands out, at this point, the church has stood out. And if you can listen to Bishop Oginde and the church leadership boards and everything, I think the church has come out very strongly. And you see, there is safety in God. And now that the church from different leaderships, it's only that some maybe it's not vocal because it's not come to TV and everything. But what I know is at this time the church has stood. This is a pulpit.
Good.
God must be honored on the pulpit.
Yeah.
If you want to do politics, you go meet your people wherever you want to meet them. Tell them whatever you
when
need.
you come to
but
church,
when you
come
come
to
to
worship.
church, come to worship.
That's
Because
good.
that is a place of worship.
Superb.
And we cannot defile the house of God because we
want
want to
votes.
appease men.
No.
So for me, 2022 will be one of the most peaceful elections that we'll ever have.
Well, I'm glad that you are here and you represent a bracket of age that we can refer to as young people.
Yes, sir.
And I really want to exploit your presence here. We have kept on hearing the talk on legacy. The president wants to leave legacy. Governors want to leave legacy. Members of parliament want to leave legacy. And when we were looking at legacy in a previous episode of leadership, we saw that legacy does not have to be the projects people do, but how you changed people's lives and how you leave the people. Are they happy? Legacy is the happiness that is in people or the bitterness that is in people. And also we said legacy is about future generation. We are doing it for future generation. And that is why we talk about legacy. Now those future generation are the young people that we have right now. This talk of legacy, how do you think is affecting young people? And how can it possibly affect positively or negatively on the young people?
Maybe we can come from a point of what is legacy, because many times we fight to look at legacy. I'm saying legacy.
Yes.
And sometimes whatever is left as legacy for the children is not legacy. We've seen people being left a lot of properties, and that was
they say that is
the
legacy.
definition of legacy by the parent.
Yeah.
And you see, when the parent slips and is gone to the Lord, you find there's a lot of infighting amongst the children, because this what the parent called legacy now becomes a monster that is actually breaking them into pieces.
Yeah.
So when we are looking at the issue of legacy, even in leadership and everything, for me, it's not about the things that we will see, the cars, the buildings, the roads, and everything. For me, the legacy is what the morals did you leave behind? What kind of leadership did you leave behind? Did you leave a people that love each other? Did you leave a people that respect each other? Did you leave a people that are united? That for me is legacy.
Powerful.
When all those things are in place, these other things will work, because if I leave a legacy where the nation is corruption free, then we'll have more roads. That's a legacy. But if I leave a road and corruption is in place, then the roads are not going to be built. So for me, I'm looking at what are these things that we are leaving our children? And that's why we talk about, am I leaving riches or am I leaving wealth? Because riches will die down, but wealth will grow from generation to generation.
You know, I keep on hearing these politicians talk about what will I be remembered for? And I think in the last 2 years or 1 year back, there has been like a mad rush, a mad rush to complete gigantic projects so that you leave something behind. And is it selfish? When we talk about my legacy is what I do, the big thing that I do so that I be remembered, isn't that selfish? Because they are doing it to be remembered, to leave their names in, rather than caring how people are feeling.
If you look at the projects, these are not individual projects. These are government projects.
They are government projects.
So nobody can take glory in them. But me, I'm just looking at, even as we rush into doing all this in the last 2 years and in the years that are coming, yes, people will remember you maybe for I did a road in Eastlands.
Yeah.
But, yes, it's a road. Then what else did you do? Are our children safe? Are our children gaining knowledge? Like now, if I look at a legacy that I will count on is the 100% transition. The children are becoming literate. That's something that I can call a legacy. So something that impacts the community positively in terms of economies and ensuring that things are working out. For me, that's where I will look as legacy. And legacy starts from home. Starts from home.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we tend to look at the political class up there.
Yeah.
But the political class will always be the political class.
Yeah. Yeah.
But me, as a father of 2 children, my son and my daughter, what kind of legacy am I leaving them?
Yeah, even as a father.
As a father, am I teaching them how to become good stewards, responsible children? Are they seeing integrity in their father? Do they see the godliness in me? Do they, when I see it as a pastor, do they see a pastor in me? And that's now where we must also, for me, the greatest value that we can, all these other things are vanities for me.
Yeah.
But the greatest values that we can leave our people are those that are instilled in our hearts, not the outside ones. Because whatever is in our hearts will outflow. Yeah. But whatever is just given for, I will see, and it will fade away. It's like beauty. I will just see. Then over time, I will not remember. There are so many things people have done since we got independence. We still remember them up to date. No, but there are things that were done for good. Somebody that established something that helps people, and now over the years we still remember it. So let's look at what will build people and grow people.
And you know, I've heard you mention some of the things that will contribute to a good legacy, and I was wondering whether you can mention some of them, because when you talk about things that comprise a good legacy, security, you are leaving behind people are secure, food security, and also security at large, and others. Can you maybe list some of them? Not going really deep into them. Yeah.
Of course, a secure nation is
if you leave a secure nation behind, you are leaving a legacy.
You're leaving a legacy because people will be able to thrive in terms of their businesses. People will get investors coming in to invest. If you leave a people who love each other,
a people that are united
and loving each
national
other.
cohesion.
When I look at my brother, I don't look at him from the point of where do you come from.
Yes,
I see him as a brother that is only that we were born in different locations, but when God created us, He created us as brothers. There's no place where God is separating us. So if I look at that person and I see that is okay, a corruption-free country.
A corruption-free country.
So that will ensure that every coin goes to the right.
That
place.
will comprise a good legacy you are leaving behind.
Yes, sir.
Oh wow!
And also for now, one of the things that we need to look also at is where we have the freedom of worship. Because if you look at now, one of the biggest things that we are looking out there is if you look at the legacies of people like Reinhard Bonnke. Reinhard Bonnke used to do a lot of crusades, and God rest his soul, because that's a soldier that rested. And we can see his legacy, the crusades that he did. If you look like somebody like Mam Teresia Wairimo, Reverend, she did a lot of, she has legacy. You can follow up her legacy. If we look at Dr. Yonggi Cho, who rested the other day, he did a lot of, there are things that we can remember him for. We do not remember him for the bad things that people did. And that's what we are looking at. Can people remember you for the good that you have left? You maybe did not leave them structures, but people can look at you and say, this person affected our lives positively.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor Edward, for being here. And you know, when we were doing this program, the Lord just put it in my mind that we need to bring real young people here and we talk about the leadership transition that is about to happen. And they engage also other young people in making sure that in our transition, there will be a lot of peace. I'll give you 1 minute to look at the camera and maybe address the young people there in relation to the leadership now and even to the transition of 2022.
For me, I will, as I talk to the young people, I will tell them, this is our country, and we have still a long way to live.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that God has given us is long life.
Yeah.
And if we are going to live long, we must prepare where we are going to live. So let's ensure that we are sober. Let's ensure that the principles for which we are looking at in terms of the people who are going to come into leadership, we must look at people who will lead us the right way. We're also looking at godly people, people who fear God, because any leader is good, but a leader that fears God is the best. And let's work in not using our vote as a mail card. Let's use our vote as a voice to bring us that change that we want.
Yeah.
Because when we have the right leaders in place, definitely this nation will be good for us as young people as we grow in it. And my closing point is, let's pray for this nation.
Wow.
As young people, let's pray for this
Yes,
nation.
young people.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Amazing truth has emerged from our discussion today, from somebody who's not very old, but also within the bracket of young people, that as young people, we have a lot that we can do, and we can make decisions on our own feet. We don't have to be incited to do evil things. And we have learned that in terms of legacy, because when people, they say they are leaving legacy, they are leaving things behind for the coming generation to enjoy. And I loved it when it emerged that legacy will not be a legacy if you don't leave peace for the people, you don't leave security for the people, you don't leave what else? Corruption-free integrity. Let's talk about integrity. You don't leave integrity, national cohesion. And these are the things that we are urging you leaders who are trying to work hard to leave a legacy behind. Please don't give us just projects. Make sure the nation is one and we have things the young people can enjoy. Soon and very soon, all of us will not be here. But some of the young people that are hearing us today will pick up the mantle of this nation and take it forward. What kind of leaders will they be? I pray that our leaders, let's put that into consideration. I'm so glad that you joined us today on the Leadership Challenge Show. Thank you so much, Pastor Edward Njuki, Jubilee Christian Church, Buruburu. God bless you so much for being here. And my dear viewer, the Lord keep you until we meet again. Shalom.